at a very young age, before you can reason with the child, they need to know that there's a negative consequence or something that they want. You don't want to let them have their natural consequence, probably, because it's going to be worse for them. But then when they get older, they can be reasoned through, and there's a point where the discipline can be changed from physical to more reasoning.
Johnny.
Okay, I strongly believe that it's because we have to know the purpose of spanking. Spanking is not to make them hurt. It's more like make sure they understand with the physical way. So it's really important that when they're a child, when they have ability to understand without, if they can't understand why it's wrong, they need it. But when they're young, I strongly believe that they need to get spanked when they're young, because they will know who to obey, and they know the authority of their parents and their, things like that. And then when they get old, it's kind of already late for them to give them spanking. It becomes more like abuse, because if you can just tell by their emotions as well. If they're young, if they're giving spank, and then when they get old and stuff, because they're doing something wrong, they're like hitting them, trying to make them stop and stuff. It becomes more abuse. When they're young, if they understand with punishment, it becomes more like spanking.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. The fact that spanking shows that there are negative consequences to the actions of, to negative actions or to wrong actions, is an interesting point. And I wish we could talk more about spanking, but we're going to go into one more area of discipline, and that has to do with rewards. So someone brought up the point that I just said about spanking being almost showing that there are consequences to the actions. A reward would also be showing there's consequences, not to wrong actions, but to good actions. Now the question is, are rewards bribes? Is the promise of a reward in child discipline, and I'm saying this is part of discipline, would that be considered a bribe or not?
Depends what it is.
Okay, for example, you have a child who's misbehaving, and you say, if you will behave today and stop, whatever the child is doing, and you say, I'll give you, a promise of food or a promise of a move, whatever it is. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't agree with that, because that's like, okay, in society, you don't get rewarded for meeting the basic requirements of a decent human being.
Okay.
I mean, like, seriously, what do you want? Like a cookie? It's not going to happen. You're fulfilling things that are expected of you. Why are you going to get rewarded for that?
Okay.
But
Sorry. If you ask them, like, hey, if you do the dishes every night this week, then I'll give you a quarter. I don't know. But I mean, then that's legitimate. They're doing something and getting something in return. But if they're just like, if you're a good boy, I'll buy you this toy. I mean, like, you're supposed to. Anyway.
I think it takes the focus off, doing wrong and having consequences for doing wrong. It's more like, if I do right in life, I'm going to get rewarded. I think Jordan brings up a good point. That's just not how life works. And for wrong actions, you see that there's problems with wrong actions, and that it's just doing right should not be looked at as, this is where I'm okay, I get rewards. It's you have to stay there, and doing bad is what's wrong, not the other way around.
What happens when the reward are taken away too? I mean,
Yeah.
Then they have no reason to be there.
Well, this discussion has many facets to it, and is very deep. But I hope that we thought about a few things that we haven't thought about before. And just to wrap it up, to make it more clear for you, the reason why I presented the Syrian refugee kids at first was because they have changed my idea of the way discipline should be. And I think the more we interact with children, the more we discuss this, as we are becoming more and more into the stage where we may have families, it's important to look at it and to see what is proper discipline and what is not. Thank you.